Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot. I'm here today to do a tag. This is a VR to Nova at Nova Luna Tarot, and her tag is called #10 Forever Cards. And I really enjoyed Nova's tag. It's a good tag, and she tagged lots of people to do this video, so I hope that everybody has a go. I shall tag some people at the end of this video, but obviously there's no pressure. If you're busy or haven't got time, then no worries at all if you don't want to do the video. But anyway, on with my cards. So I've been through my decks, which isn't easy at the moment because normally I can see my decks quite easily. They're sort of on my shelves and easy to get at, but at the moment they're in boxes and crates, and it's a bit of a palaver, to be honest, to find things. So I've done my best, and I've pulled out 10 cards that all mean something to me in some way or another. Some of them have done for a very long time. So the first card that I've got here is from the Pagan Cats Tarot, and this one is just simply a card that I know will always make me smile and always make me laugh. And this is my favourite Knight of Pentacles card that I have ever seen anywhere in any deck. It's just, I just love it. You know, the Knight of Pentacles is a card of slow moving energy, and there's just nothing kind of slower really than this white goat with this black very grumpy cat sat on the back of it. So I don't know why, but it just really makes me laugh. There's quite a few cats that make me smile. There's a few that make me cry, actually. I am a sucker for cat tarot decks, but just look at it. What a great Knight of Pentacles, a black cat sat on a white goat. It's just brilliant. So there we go. It's as simple as that really with my first card. It is just because it makes me smile. The second card I've got here is from the Pensive Path Tarot deck, and this is the High Priestess. And the reason why this is my favourite High Priestess card really, I think, is just because of her age. You know, we often see a High Priestess that's young and beautiful and colourful, with a sort of enigmatic smile on her face, sort of kind of mysterious, but this High Priestess just looks tired. Do you know what I mean? She just looks knackered. She looks like she's seen it all, she's done it all, she's heard it all. There's nothing that would shock her, nothing that would surprise her. I would imagine she's been places that no one else has ever been. She's been to the land of the dead and back many times, I'm sure. And like I said, she's seen it all and she's done it all. And this to me is the true energy of the High Priestess. I really do appreciate seeing this kind of crone-like energy in this card. She doesn't look cold or grumpy or angry or aloof or anything like that. She just looks tired. She looks weary. You know, you can see, I think, in her face kind of the burden of her psychic abilities. You know, because I do think, actually, I mean, I'm no High Priestess, but you know, I have a certain amount of psychic ability, I believe, and unless you're very grounded and you're very guarded with your energy, sometimes you can end up feeling completely exhausted and completely tired and world weary, I suppose, is what she is, isn't she? And I really do appreciate that. You don't see it very often in the High Priestess, but I like this. My third card is from the Pensive Path yet again, and it is the Strength card. And this one just became my instant favourite, really. If I had to ever pick a strength card to really represent what I feel strength is all about, it would be this one. I just think it's a genius card. You know, this dog with the sausages on his nose, and he's so loyal and dedicated and well trained and disciplined. You know, this dog has had to dig deep, hasn't he? He's had to dig deep, and his own inner resources and his own ability to trust, actually, that if he just sits until he's told, he'll get the sausages. You know, he knows that if he's patient, he'll get the sausages. And that comes from inner strength, doesn't it? Of knowing when to act, knowing when to wait, knowing when to be patient, knowing when to kind of push, you know, and be active in your ability to manifest the things that you want in life. You know, this really is about digging deep, of finding inner resources, inner strength to help you get what you want in the end, I suppose. Just what a genius card, isn't it? I do hope you can see that properly. I'm looking through my camera, it just looks dark, but I hope that I've got enough light on that for you. So that's card number 3. Card number 4, you will probably have all heard me talk about at one time or another. This is from the Tower of the Abyss. And notice I'm not showing you the entire deck. I'm not getting the decks out along with these cards, because if I did, I'd be here all day. You know, it took me quite a while to come up with these cards. Some of them were an instant, like, yes, this is a forever card for me, but some of them it took me a while to get to because I've got so many favourites. Just in the Tower of the Abyss deck, there are many cards that I think, you know, I will never fall out of love with. But this one in particular, I very much like the Justice card. I'm a Virgo on the cusp with Libra, and that feeling of fairness in life is really very important to me, that things are fair, that people get what they need, they get what they want. And really this card is a kind of reminder that, you know, your actions are always seen. If not by yourself or other people, they're seen by spirit, by those kind of archetypal energies, by karma. You know, your actions in life are being weighed and measured, I believe, all the time. And this eye sees all, doesn't it? You kind of get the feeling that you don't get too many chances with her. You know, that she's firm but fair. I just really like it. I really do. This is a card of being seen, isn't it? Of being seen. And I think that's really important. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about this card. I kind of haven't written any notes or anything to do this VR. So, but yeah, I think that's enough to say really, is that she's weighing and measuring all the time. And you know, this card makes me think also about like our growth as people, you know, our human growth, our spiritual growth. And it's like every action that you have, every action, every reaction is seen on some level or another. And I think it's far better that we hold ourselves accountable and we are responsible for our own thoughts and feelings and behaviours, rather than letting it come down to karma. I think she would be a harsher judge in the end, do you not think? Sorry about that, I had to pause again, cat issues. So the next card that I've got here is the Two of Swords, and this is from my very, very old and trusty Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I have had, I think, for 35 years now. You can see on this card it's got some water damage, and it's kind of bent and a bit grubby. And that's because even though I've had this deck a long time and used it countless times over the years, this card in particular got grubby and stained because it used to get carried around in my pocket for a time. This card kept coming up in readings for me around 3 or 4 years ago, and this was at a time when I was mentally and physically not very well at all. I was kind of broken, and I had some big decisions to make. I had things that I needed to do, things I needed to sort out, and this card kept coming up all the time. I even used to take this card to therapy sessions with me because it was like I knew I needed to take the blindfold off. I knew I couldn't just sit immobile, rigid and stuck. I knew I had to act. And this card was really part of that process of waking me up and enabling me to do the things that I needed to do to get better, to get well. And so this card has really got a place in my heart. And whenever this card comes up in a reading, to be honest, I don't use this deck very often. It is my oldest tarot deck and my most precious one, and I would not use it to read for anybody else. I only use it for myself, and it doesn't come out very often, but if ever I see this image of the Two of Swords in any of my Rider-Waite-Smith decks, I kind of know that I'm either at risk of being in that place again, or I am in that place again, where if I can just move, if I can just do something rather than sit and try and keep everything under control, if I can just do something, I know that I will find my way out of whatever problem I'm facing. So this card is really, really important to me. Okay, so what have we got? I think we're halfway through actually. So the next card, this is actually an oracle card. I'm pretty sure Nova said we could use oracle cards. This one is from my Goddess Guidance oracle deck. This is a Doreen Virtue Hay House deck. I'll try not to get a glare on that. And this is Neona. And she's not a very well-known goddess, I don't think. She's a Celtic goddess. And again, when I first bought this deck, maybe 20 odd years ago, and I worked with it a lot when I first bought it, this card used to come up all the time. And really what this card is about sacred spaces. It's about creating your own sacred space, whether that is within yourself or within your home, or I don't know, out in your garden, out in the countryside somewhere, a beach that you like to go to, wherever it is for you. But this is really about having that sacred space, that place of sanctuary where you can be quiet and still and go within and connect with your higher guides, connect with spirit, ground yourself. Yeah, that kind of thing really. But this card used to come up such a lot for me, and it was this card and Neona that I will always evoke, and invoke actually is the word, isn't it? Invoke when I am making a new altar for myself. And it's something that's really important to me. It's not something that I've talked about a great deal on my channel. In the last 6 months or so. It's not something I've talked about a great deal at all, because I'm in the process of trying to move house, and at the moment the only sacred space I have really for myself is my little tarot table in the corner of the room, because a lot of my stuff is packed. I've had to pack up a lot of my garden stuff, and I did have a beautiful altar in my garden. So when I move house, this card will be coming out. It will sit on my temporary altar, probably, that I will set up when I move. And I will be asking Neona for her guidance, her support, to help me set up new sacred spaces for myself. They're very, very important, I believe. So there we go, Neona. The next card, and this one is a silly one really, but it has become an absolute firm favourite of mine. This is the Zombie Tarot, and this is the Hermit. And excuse me, this became really important to me maybe 3 to 4 years ago when I bought the deck. We were in the middle of all the pandemic nonsense, the lockdowns in this country, and I had just left a very difficult situation, and I had just moved here where I am now to this bungalow, and the world was locked down, really. I spent an awful lot of time on my own those first few months. And like this woman in this card, I just read books. I looked at my tarot cards. I watched a little bit of TV. I ate chocolate. I laid on my sofa a lot. And I just ignored all of this outside, all of these people trying to get in, which to me really was the media circus that was going on around COVID, the fear-mongering and the scaring of people into behaving in certain ways, the sort of brainwashing that was going on. And I stayed indoors in my beautiful little bungalow, and I just ignored it. And so although I'm a hermit anyway, and the Hermit card has always been one of my favourite cards, but this one particularly in the zombie deck, I mean, this is just me. So, the next card I've got here, you may not have even seen me use as a tarot deck. I certainly haven't used for a long time. This is the Psychic Tarot, and it's called the Psychic Tarot, isn't it? Yeah, it's by John Holland, and this is the Fool. And I've had this deck quite a long time. I don't know how long, actually. I've got the little guidebook here. Let's see when the copyright is, because I bought it new. I remember it was 2007, so I've probably had it that long. And this card is a forever card to me, more than any of the other Fool cards, because this is who I aspire to be. I have a lot of social anxiety. I don't get out of my house very often on my own. I don't get out of the house very often with other people, if I'm honest, but on my own, it's a real struggle. And you know, you can see here the woman, she stepped out of her front door, she's prepared, she's got her bag, her staff, her wand, and she's stepping out into the unknown, isn't she? She's stepping out into the universe here, into the, well, yeah, just into potential, into the unknown. And she's got her head held high. She's ready, isn't she, for the challenge? And this is kind of who I aspire to be every time I leave my house. I often think of this woman here in this card and want to be her, want to stride out of my front door, down my steps and out into my world, feeling confident and happy and almost excited about what I will find in the world, not anxious and fearful and wanting to control everything, which is how I can be. I would very much like to be this woman here. So this card comes into my mind quite a lot. So the next card that I've got here, we've got two left. This is the Three of Cups from the Mary L deck. And again, you may not have seen me use or talk about this deck for a long time. I have a funny relationship with this deck. I absolutely love the artwork. There's much of the artwork in this deck. I would have framed pictures on my walls. You know, it just is gorgeous in so many ways. But I also struggle to connect with it. On some levels, it's not an easy deck to read with. I don't always get on with the guidebook. But visually, you know, this deck, I really feel something from it, you know, and this card in particular, I mean, this I would love to have as like a mural on my wall or like a full-length picture on my wall. It's just stunning, isn't it? The perspective of this card with the tree here and the waterfalls and them coming through the mountains. It pleases me on so many levels to look at this card. And when you look at the guidebook, I shall just read you a couple of bits from the guidebook. It talks about the waterfalls are energy flowing forth from the source to the earth, being grounded, literally a fall from heaven to earth. From there they rise again in the shape of a tree. The silhouette is somewhat chaotic, branches winding and reaching up and reaching for each other, some strong and thick and hard from age, and some thin and spindly, new and still flexible. They go in every direction, but always up, out, and never where they started. The result is a beautiful, one-of-a-kind tree. This painting represents all the elements in harmony. Being in the suit of water, it was envisaged as three separate streams or souls, all moving together and parallel in the current towards the same destination. And it is the harmony of the three rivers, and how each one represents a different path to and from divinity and enlightenment, yet each is equal and good. Just like people, we all begin and end in the same place, but have our individual paths to get there. And the most powerful thing a person can do is find out who they really are and follow their own path to reach their potential. So that actually makes a lot of sense to me, because often the guidebook for this deck doesn't, but that really does, and it's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful to think of these three rivers here as souls, all on their own path, from spirit to the ground, from the source to the ground, connecting the sky to the earth, the growing of this tree here. I just absolutely love it on every level. It is a beautiful card, and like I said, I would love to have this as a piece of artwork. So the last card that I've got here is again another oracle card, and it's from my Power Animals deck, which is a deck by Stephen Farmer, which again I've had a long time. Let's have a look at the copyright. This is 2005, and I think I probably did buy it in 2005, so I've had this a long time. And again, this card is important to me and resonates such a lot for me because, one, it's a horse, and my childhood was full of horses. I rode horses, I took care of horses at the local stable, and they were my freedom. They were my freedom from my own fearful little existence. You know, I was an undiagnosed autistic child, and so life for me was scary a lot of the time. And I think when you're fearful or you're scared, you often feel powerless. You feel like you don't have many choices in life. And when I got this deck, and the word on there was freedom, and you always have a choice, that just resonates so much for me. Let me read you a little bit from the book. Let go of the illusion that you're somehow a victim. Know that you always have a choice in any and every situation. Take responsibility for the consequences of that choice and stop holding on to any beliefs that you have to somehow suffer through or endure the circumstance of that choice. Once you fully allow this reality, you will automatically shift into experiencing greater control over your life. You can choose to do whatever you want, to wander about or to stay in place, to go forwards, backwards, or even sideways. Your soul has made a choice to incarnate into the body and being of the one that you are. Once you surrender to that fact, it becomes even more difficult to play the victim, and your ultimate trust in life becomes magnified. You can choose to hear and respond to that inner voice or to quell it and run from it. So choose, do what makes your soul sing, and do it with gusto and passion. And all of those words resonate strongly for me. They all have helped me to grow. They've all helped to shape me into the person that I am today. Because if I'm honest, when I was younger, I did feel a victim. You know, I felt like I was very different to everybody else. I felt that nobody understood me, that I was alone, and that I didn't have many choices in life. And as I've grown up, I've realised that that really is not true, and that you always have a choice. And that the hardest time in life is often when you're torn between choices. It's this kind of energy, isn't it? This one here. This is the terrible place to be, and this is the beautiful place to be. So that card just means such a lot to me. And I think whenever I'm doubting myself, whenever I'm fearful to make a new decision, to do something, like at the moment, I need to move house. And I'm very torn about that decision, because in a lot of ways I'm happy where I am, but I know that I need to take the next step and I need to move again. There's lots of reasons why, but I'm fearful of it, you know, or at times I am. So this card really helps me to realise that I need to take responsibility for the choices that I take, that they're not being forced upon me, that they're my own choices and my own decisions. And even though they might feel uncomfortable sometimes, they are the right thing to do, you know, to have that integrity and that personal responsibility. So there we go. These are my 10 cards, my 10 forever cards. I hope you liked some of them. I would like to tag a few people that I noticed that Nova didn't. So I'd like to tag Patsy T. I'd like to tag Mystic MZ. I'd like to tag Gigi at Art Oracles. And I would like to tag Carla at Miss Kulala's Mysticals Musings. I think I've said everybody's names right there, but I will put everybody's channel in the description box so you know who I'm talking about. Obviously no pressure to do this if you're busy. I know it's a bit of a chaotic time of the year for everybody at the moment, but if you get the chance, I would love to see what you come up with. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Much love to everybody, and I'll see you all soon.